Can you still taste that first frosty sip when sweet vanilla danced with a hint of malt and the outside world melted away with every swirl of your straw? The 1950s were a golden era for milkshakes, creamy hand-spun treats served up in stainless steel cups that frosted over as you watched. The hum of the blender, the clinking of glass as the waitress slid your order onto a red vinyl counter, and the joyful buzz of teenagers crowding soda fountains on a summer night. These moments linger in memory like the flavor of real ice cream on your tongue. Each shake wasn't just a dessert, but a ticket to laughter with friends, or even that first nervous date in a poodle skirt or leather jacket. From classic chocolate to wild flavors that have all but vanished, 50s milkshakes captured the post-war dreams of a nation hungry for simple indulgences. Can you remember your favorite flavor, the one you'd wait all week for? Join us as we dip back into the joyous world of pastel counters, spinning stools, and the timeless taste of milkshakes that defined a generation. Let's rediscover those flavors of the past. Are you ready for a sweet journey back in time? Picture yourself walking down Main Street in small-town America, sometime around the early 1950s. The Saturday sun draws families and friends together, and the local soda fountain, bathed in the scent of whipped cream and melting chocolate, becomes the beating heart of community life. But what most people today might not realize is that the beloved milkshake of the 1950s was the result of several decades of culinary innovation. To truly appreciate those creamy, dreamy glasses from our youth, we have to wind back a few decades and see how the milkshake became a classic symbol of American indulgence. Let's travel even further. To the origins in the late 1800s, when the word milkshake meant something quite different than what you remember. Back then, a milkshake was more akin to an eggnog, spiked with whiskey for adults, and hardly the frosty treat we now associate with teenagers and fuzzy dice. But as the calendar flipped to the 20th century, soda fountains started to tinker with new recipes. By the 1920s, the addition of ice cream to the mix transformed the milkshake into a truly sweet sensation. It was the rising popularity of electric blenders like the classic Hamilton Beach milkshake machine, introduced in 1911, that made those irresistibly thick and creamy shakes possible on a large scale, paving the way for their golden age. Jump ahead to the post-war boom of the 1950s. America was thriving, optimism was in the air, and the corner drugstore or soda shop was where everyone, from starry-eyed kids to hard-working parents, could escape for a moment of sweetness. The milkshake fit the mood perfectly. It was comforting, affordable, and, perhaps most important of all, shareable. Across the country, these fizzy, bustling venues became more than just a place to grab a bite. They were the places where high schoolers gathered after Friday football games, where first dates brought butterflies and nervous smiles, and where parents paused for a peaceful moment while the kids spun in circles on polished stools. But there's another layer to this story. Did you know that at the dawn of the 50s, milkshakes weren't just a dessert? They were considered a healthy meal substitute loaded with calories for growing youngsters or hard-working dads. Nutritionists and advertisements described them as the perfect food, packed with milk, cream, and even malt powder, which had been introduced to America in the 1920s as a health tonic. That's why so many parents gave a green light, passing off a malted milk as a practical indulgence, just enough to fortify you for an afternoon of homework, chores, or backyard baseball. Of course, there was nothing quite like watching your shake come to life behind the counter. The ritual was part of the magic. The white-coated soda jerk would scoop vanilla ice cream by hand, add the syrup in just the right amount. Was it chocolate, strawberry, or maybe even cherry? And pour in a generous splash of cold milk. For something special, a spoonful of malt powder could be added, giving a rich, toasty flavor that still sparks memories. For many, the metallic cup would disappear under a humming spindle mixer, turning the ingredients into a frothy wonderland. And then, like a magician's reveal, the shake was poured into a tall, fluted glass, with just enough left in the cup for a secret refill. Do you remember how the best shakes were so thick that you had to work the straw with determination to get that first rush of cold, sweet goodness? Or maybe you went with friends and shared one shake, splitting it between two glasses, feeling a sense of camaraderie with every clink of spoon against glass. And for a lucky few, the soda jerk might have tossed in a maraschino cherry or a swirl of fresh whipped cream, turning an ordinary treat into something you couldn't wait to brag about at school. Now here's something that might surprise you. In the early 1950s, regional variations in milkshake preparation led to passionate debates about what a real milkshake was. In the Northeast, a frappe was the name for a thick, blended ice cream shake, while in other regions, a milkshake could just mean flavored milk with no ice cream at all. New Englanders were infamous for turning up their noses at anything less than a spoon standing in the glass consistency. Did you ever order a milkshake on a road trip and get something totally different from what you expected? But if there's a single ingredient that cemented milkshakes in 1950s culture, it was the blossoming spirit of youth. After World War II, teenagers finally had spending money and free time, and they desperately wanted places to call their own. Soda fountains filled this need perfectly. In fact, sociologists at the time coined phrases like milkshake culture to explain how these treats became shorthand for innocence, romance, and American optimism. Advertisers seized the moment, marketing milkshakes as both wholesome and cool, with film stars and celebrities pictured sipping creamy concoctions on date night or between movie takes. Do you recall those old magazine ads with the grinning faces and slogans like, "Get your energy the fun way"? You might not believe this, but the influx of teenagers with their new buying power is part of what made milkshakes and soda fountains so ubiquitous. The National Restaurant Association noted a huge boom in soda shops throughout the 1950s, with estimates of over 60,000 soda fountains across the country at the decade's height. Many of those counters have now vanished, but their spirit lives on every time someone reminisces about that first magical gulp. What did all these new influences mean for the evolution of flavors and styles in the coming years? How did technology and pop culture further shape the milkshake's status as a beloved treat? Well, the next chapter in our story takes us behind the scenes into the hum and buzz of innovation that brought even more excitement and a wider range of possibilities to every glass served. Are you ready to see how the milkshake, ever the crowd pleaser, embraced new inventions and flavors in the rapidly changing 1950s? Let's take a peek behind the curtain and discover how a simple shake became an icon of its time. As we finish this stroll down memory lane, it's clear that milkshakes of the 1950s were so much more than a popular dessert. They were a perfect blend of taste, tradition, and togetherness. We've revisited their beginnings as simple, hand-mixed concoctions behind bustling soda countertops, watched as newfangled machines brought froth and fun to every glass, and remembered the way those milkshakes reflected the boundless post-war optimism pulsing through corner diners and small-town main streets, from the sturdy soda jerk's practiced hand scooping ice cream into a shining metal cup, to the busy after-school rush when laughter and conversation echoed beneath the hum of neon signs. Every glass served was a tiny celebration. Whether you were partial to classic chocolate or a daring flavor of the week, sharing a shake became a cherished ritual, especially for teenagers coming of age in a world that suddenly felt brighter and full of promise. Beyond the simple joy of flavor, milkshakes served as a kind of social glue. They brought strangers and sweethearts together, gave children a reason to count out nickels, and marked milestones from good report cards to Friday night victories. The taste of a thick, frosty shake was charged with anticipation and memory. The swirl of whipped cream, the bright pop of a cherry, the way a paper straw softened as you lingered over conversation. Even now, the faintest whiff of vanilla or the cool chill from an ice cream parlor can open the floodgates of memory, reminding us of lazy summers, jukebox tunes spinning in the corner, and the shine of chrome under fluorescent lights. In a world that moved just a little more slowly, a milkshake wasn't rushed. It was savored, meant to be enjoyed in the good company of friends, family, or that first fluttering crush. Reflecting on those flavors of the past, it's easy to see why milkshakes became enduring symbols not only of the 1950s, but of a time when life felt warm, welcoming, and just a bit magical. These sweet concoctions have weathered decades of change, evolving with the American palate while holding fast to the nostalgia and innocence that first made them special. They invite us, even today, to pause and remember a time when happiness could be found at the bottom of a frosty glass. What about you? Does a certain milkshake flavor unlock a favorite memory or transport you straight back to a spinning diner stool and friendly clatter of glasses? We'd love to hear your story. Share your own treasured milkshake memories in the comments below. Was there a favorite flavor, a special place, or an unforgettable moment that still makes you smile? If you enjoyed this sweet journey through time, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with friends who might be reminiscing about their own soda fountain days. And be sure to stay tuned for more looks back at the food, fun, and friendship that defined our formative years. After all, in a world that sometimes feels a little too fast, there's nothing quite like settling in, closing your eyes, and letting the memories rise, one swirl at a time, just like the perfect milkshake of days gone by.